Hello friends. Today I'm standing up for my home country of Norway, which is something I don't do very often. I don't really often identify with being Norwegian, except that it's already half of my heritage. I've always felt like I've been more of a world citizen than anything else because I have such a widespread family, and I haven't necessarily felt like I've been very closely connected to Norway. So there are plenty of things I don't necessarily like that much about Norway, but in an attempt to keep negativity off of my blog and out of my life, I am not a royalist myself, but I do like the fact that Norway has a royal family. We have a king, a queen, a crown prince, a crown princess, and plenty of other spare royals as well. And one of the best traditions with the royal family is that on Constitution Day, which is May 17th, all the kids in the capital city, they walk in a big parade past the castle while the king, queen, and the crown prince and crown princess stand up there and wave at all the peasants. Never has that word been used more appropriately on the internet. Now, I myself have always been very outspoken and a big supporter of equal rights for everyone, and I'm happy to say that Norway has always been in the forefront whenever it comes to anything like this. Norway has always been in the forefront of women's rights, minority rights, and LGBT rights as well. Norway was one of the first countries in the world to recognize universal rights for minorities, and in 1913 Norway was also the first country in the world to grant women universal suffrage. Norway was also the first country in the world to enact an anti-discrimination law protecting the rights of gays and lesbians. In 1993, Norway became the second country in the world to legalize same-sex unions, and in 2009 became the sixth country in the world to grant same-sex marriage. There are some things about Norway that I quite like that I know other people think are quite strenuous and a bit obsessive. I am thinking about the rules around alcohol. Now, I am not a big drinker myself. I am not a really big fan of the whole alcohol-based culture that youth seem to get into these days. Seems probably quite hypocritical saying as I have a story on my channel here about how I got so drunk that I thought I was outside when I was inside and I had to climb naked in my window. But I have grown up since I was 20, believe it or not, and I realised that I don't really care for alcohol that much. So alcohol cannot be bought in shops after 6 p.m. on a weekday or after 8 p.m. on a Saturday. You can not at all buy alcohol in shops on Sundays or on red holidays like Easter. To buy alcohol over a certain percentage, you have to go to a special store which only sells that sells like wine and spirits and things like that. And they have an even smaller gap window for when they're open, and they close at 3 on Saturdays. So you can pretty much have your weekend wrecked if you don't get into the store in time to buy alcohol, which is very different from Denmark, where I live here, where you can pretty much buy beer and spirits at 7-Eleven at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. So yeah. Another thing that I really do like that is quite different from many other places is that Norway doesn't have a life sentence. We did have an incident in 2011 where a man decided to go up and bomb part of parliament, and then after that he went and shot 60 plus kids at a youth camp. That probably did bring our statistics up a little bit, but besides that, we have one of the lowest murder rates in the world, and government sees absolutely no reason to have life sentences for people because we have the capacity to keep people in prison and to rehabilitate them in the time that we have set for prisoners' sentences. So the maximum sentence is actually 21 years. And I think that there is a possibility for extension after that if it's particularly bad. Like this guy that I mentioned who went up and killed all these kids, he is probably going to be stuck in prison for a very, very long time. The last thing I want to mention is healthcare. Healthcare is pretty much free. You don't have to have insurance, and you don't have to pay insanely expensive premiums to make sure that your family will have everything that they need in case you break a leg, or you have to have surgery on your heart, or you need a rehabilitating surgery for your knee or something like that. I think that you pay a minimum amount for yourself and then the government pays the rest. We also have paid maternity leave, and it's for a full year, and it's split between the mother and the father, which I also think is quite cool. So yeah, those were some of the things that I think are the best and most unique things about Norway. So I really want to finish this video off with saying tusen takk for at dere tok tiden til å se videoen min. Jeg setter kjempestor pris på det, og jeg vil veldig gjerne at dere trykker subscribe hvis dere likte den, eller thumbs up. Ellers så vil jeg bare si takk for at dere tok tiden forbi, og jeg håper jeg ser dere igjen. Hei!